Historically, just not thus far.
Tatum one-on-one with Mobley, all-star against all-star. 2 seconds. Brown the back end. Brown at the horn. He's got it. One with LeVert. Porzingis fake on a handoff and takes it in. Garland not on. Tatum back in. Kick. White. Ball fake. Jumper. Money. Battle of the top two teams in the Eastern Conference belongs to Boston.
What a game last night between the Celtics and the Cavs. 112 to 105. Celtics take it away. Potential conference finals matchup. That's pretty much what it's been looking like for a long time now. And it's time to talk about this game. What an ugly game to start. And honestly, it was a scrappy game. It was a really fun, ugly game that gave us a lot of highlights, a lot of fun moments for a lot of different players. Derek White had a big game. He definitely came through. First quarter, it's all Jaylen Brown, and neither team can buy a bucket other than that, right? Like, Jaylen Brown gets the first 12 points for the Celtics. He was just cooking at will. He kind of vanished as the game went on. Cavs made a lot of runs. Celtics just kept trading away, and it was like almost they were breaking even at that point throughout the game. Because the Cavs went on some really good runs, but the Celtics would just trade baskets. Cavs just unable to get a lot of stops against the Celtics to kind of build on that lead and kind of chip away at the Celtics lead. You get a second quarter that just continues to kind of be ugly for both teams, other than like Sam Merrill. I'm looking at it here. Sam Merrill, he'll come out of nowhere and he doesn't stop moving. Very like, I'm not gonna, don't go crazy when I say that he's like Steph Curry, but he's just such a non-stop motion off-ball guy that catches and shoots in different scenarios. He can come off the curl. He can catch and shoot contested. He can shoot off the bounce. Has a really quick release. The shot is money. Just shoots the lights out and just catches fire. Someone that the defense always has to be aware of. And he's not the biggest guy. He's not going to hold his own on defense, but he's always going to be a threat when he's out there on the floor. And look, it's Jared Allen. It's Darius Garland. Those three guys holding it down for the Cavs, kind of keeping them alive, even though they go into that quarter after having, a really good quarter amongst those three, still being down 10 because obviously the Celtics are still trading baskets with them. Third quarter comes along and it's basically a trade-off. It's Porzingis and Jason Tatum just going off. Every time there was just a pick and roll with Porzingis involved, and he catches it in the short roll, and he gets into that paint. They combine for 22 points, and Garland and Mitchell respond with 23 points of their own. Kind of just, going at it, trading buckets amongst the four of those guys. Fourth quarter comes along, and the Cavs are catching fire. It looks like the Celtics are letting go of the rope almost long enough to lose this game, but they get a massive 14-point quarter from Derek White, just cooking. Shooting off the catch, shooting contested threes. He had one in the paint also, just a mid-range pull-up over Darius Garland. These Celtics were just picking on Garland over and over and over again. You see Jaylen Brown posting up Garland. If they get a switch, they're just going to go at him as much as possible. And granted, a lot of those attempts over Garland were misses, but they were clean looks, just shooting over the chair. And that's the problem that I see with this matchup is the Cavs, they have the offense to trade baskets with the Celtics. They also have the defense and the size to be able to put up with the Celtics to a good extent. But, you do the double big lineup thing, right? Which is unique at this point in where the league's at right now. You have that double big lineup. And, a lot of other teams are just going to kind of try to, play fast and outrun you guys. But the Celtics are like, you know what? We're cool. We have Luke Cornett. We have Al Horford. We have Kristaps Porzingis. We have Neemias Queta, who didn't play in this game, I don't think. And look, Neemias Queta, not a big name, but these are guys like Luke Cornett and Queta. These guys know their roles and they play them effectively, right? They know their strengths and they play to them. And look, the Celtics can run a double big lineup with still really good spacing and not have a problem with size, right? Like that's the thing about this team. They can play in multiple ways. Now, the Cavs didn't have Dean Wade, and that's a two-way versatile guy that they're definitely going to need out there if they want to beat the Celtics, at least in my opinion. I feel like the Celtics, like to beat the Celtics, the Cavs are going to have to be at full strength, and they're going to have to be operating on all cylinders because, and even then, I still don't even think it would be enough. That's how good the Celtics are, and it's not to knock on the Cavs because they've been having an awesome season. They've been super fun to watch. I love watching their games, and I just think that it's almost impossible to ignore just the liability that some of their perimeter guys are on defense. Like Garland, pick and roll, you get him in a mismatch, you don't even need to run a pick and roll against Darius Garland. You kind of could just go one-on-one, and if you're posting him up, if you kind of get by him, the Cavs are going to send help, and if the Celtics get two on the ball, that's it. They're going to get an open three. They're going to get maybe a cut to the basket. They're going to get a really good look off that, and if you can draw two on offense on command, which is something that the Celtics can very easily do against the Cavs because of that disadvantage that the Cleveland Cavaliers operate with. You got a guy like Ty Jerome, who's a target they can go at. You have a guy like Sam Merrill, who I mentioned earlier, another guy the Cavs can go at. And like Georges Niang, not to pick on him, but he's also a guy that the Celtics can go at. And look, if you're looking at it from the Cavs perspective on who they can go at, and it's like, okay, you have Tatum, lanky wing, right? Good defender. Jaylen Brown, same thing. Drew Holiday, point of attack defender. This guy who didn't have a good game, he's doing good things on defense. He had the best defensive rating last night amongst the Celtics. It was at 93.1. I'm looking at my notes. So yeah, he has a bad game on offense, but he makes up for it on the other end. And God forbid if he's clicking, right? Like if his shots are falling, this team just becomes nearly unbeatable. And this turned into kind of like a conversation about like where the Cavs and the Celtics stand. Like, where do I see them if they match up against each other? And this could be a close series. I'm talking like it's probably going to go 6, but I just don't believe in the Cavs' ability to get over the hump against these guys. Like the Celtics, if they get into a shooting match, right, and it's just 3s for 3s, okay, it evens the playing field a little bit, right? Because now you're playing on variance, right? Like if the Celtics are off, okay, you have a shot. But the Celtics can also just constantly abuse a mismatch, whereas I don't see how the Cavs can abuse a mismatch. Like, yeah, if Al Horford's out there, okay, maybe you put him in pick and rolls and try to test him. But even Al Horford does a really good job of holding his own. And he stays on his feet. He just is smart. He's not going to commit a bunch of fouls. He's always in a good position. He's going to stretch the floor, and he's going to make his threes, right? Like, you see Evan Mobley out there. He is just an absolute no-show in this game. And I love Mobley, but this can't be Mobley in a series against the Celtics. This can't happen. Like, I think it was 7 points that he had in this game. He just could not buy a bucket. And he doesn't put fear in your heart when he shoots threes. Like, whenever he's about to take that three, I know he can make them, but if I had to bet on every three that he's going to take, I'm betting the miss every time. It doesn't really put fear in your heart. You can still cheat off of him. So the Cavs are essentially running this double big scenario with Evan Mobley, who can theoretically space the floor, but he doesn't exactly do that yet. And, you got the Celtics who, look, man, they got Horford who can shoot threes, a big man. You got Porzingis who can shoot threes, a big man. Cornette is skilled, and he'll get you like a couple of buckets, just some putbacks. Maybe he'll block a shot. He'll be effective on the boards. He's going to set strong screens and roll, and he's really easy to find on the slips. And it's like, what are the Cavs going to do when either Mobley or Allen are off the floor? Like, I get it, maybe play faster, because it looks like after that first quarter, Kenny Atkinson kind of like probably told him to speed it up because they did look faster. And it looked like they sped it up even more in the second half. And it looked a lot better for the Cavs to play fast. They've been playing fast all year. They've made a huge turnaround on their pace. And that's a shout out to Kenny Atkinson. But I don't know. I can't get behind the thought of the Cavs beating the Celtics because, like I said, you get Garland, you're running a pick and roll, and, you get the mismatch you want on Garland. And then it's either you let Garland try to hold his own and, maybe bait the Celtics into taking some long twos, some contested twos. But if they do get to the paint and they've got Garland behind them, you got to send two. And then now you're allowing the Celtics, who shoot a million threes, giving them an open three. So I don't know. This was a fun game, but when you think about where these two teams stand and how they match up, it would be a really fun series. But I need to see a way better Evan Mobley before I can even think about the idea of the Cavs beating the Celtics. If this is Mobley in the series, they're not going to beat the Celtics. And I think it's as simple as that. Like, Garland can be excellent, and Donovan Mitchell had a crazy poster in that game last night. These are two guys that can kind of, weather the storm and find offense. But, defensively, that's one of the questions I have from a couple of those guys. So they're going to match up again. I don't remember when the date is, but I'll be really interested to see what happens because Celtics at full strength, Cavs at full strength. I still think the Celtics take it.